Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Bill Anderson. I think you know who I am by now. Uh, Welcome to another live stream from around Mijas. Um, uh, it's actually lovely to see our Costa del Sol weather gradually returning. Um, I think the temperatures are now starting to pick up, but it's actually nice not to feel cold in the evenings and to be able to go out in the day with something lighter on. Um, First of all, we've got a few things that I want to cover today. And I do need to do the sort of disclaimer just to remind you that I am a councillor here in Mijas. I'm with the Partido Popular. This is not essentially a political broadcast, but I think it's important to understand that, the government team, I'm in opposition. The government team have their priorities. They're not necessarily my priorities. Um, but we will do our best. And to say this is not primarily a political broadcast, but you may find some of the things crossing over this political line just a little bit. Okay, got some people joined us. Please do feel free to join in the chat. Um, the first thing I want to just raise is the issue of the beaches. Now, I know that Mother Nature is always going to be more powerful than anything we can do. Um, but hi Andrew. Um, Andrew's saying, "What's going on at the roadworks at the race course?" Ah. I'm going to come back to that in just a moment, Andrew, because we're going to just talk about the beaches first. But I'll tell you what I know about it, what I think I know about it. But it's nothing as exciting as we might hope it would be. Um, there are serious problems. I mean, I started coming to Mykonos about 25 years ago, and the shoreline was 50 to 100 meters further towards the sea than it is now. So gradually the actual water line seems to be creeping up, and it is causing a lot of problems. The building Almirante, which I think used to be originally was a hotel. It's now a block of flats. You can recognize it quite easily from the sort of Doña Lola area, big, tall, high-rise building, has is being affected quite dramatically by the sea constantly coming in and bashing against the wall. And I think there is some subsidence in the terrace at the front of that. We've seen what's happened to the boardwalk. Part of it almost got washed away. The foundation's completely exposed. And then there's the thing about sand. And we had pretty bad storm this last couple of weeks, and it did wash most of the sand away from the beach. And people were saying, "Oh, isn't it great how quickly they've replaced it?" And yes, it is great that they managed to get the sand back in time for Easter. A lot of people here on holiday at the moment, and that's fantastic. But I'm firmly of the belief that prevention is better than cure. Now, we probably can't remove all storm damage, but 2 or 3 times a year, replacing the sand, another storm, replacing the sand again, another storm, replacing the sand again, seems to me not to be terribly good economy. And I would like to see the proposal that was left in place in 2015 for a proper technical survey to be carried out to look at what might be done in terms of either breakwaters or some kind of dikes or artificial reefs that would minimize the damage that's being done in the storm periods to the beaches, to the boardwalk, and to some of the buildings there along the first line to the beach. It's an opinion. Um, there was 80,000 euros left in the budget in 2015 to carry out this survey, but it's never been used. And although the PP team have raised this issue on several occasions, the government team have continuously voted against it. I'm not really quite sure what that is all about. Um, Andrew, what's going on with the roadworks at the racecourse? Well, I had a conversation with Anandit, who lives out that way, just a couple of weeks ago. And apparently, what they're doing is they are building a pavement along that area of the road. Um, I'm all in favor of pavements. I think pavements are great things, especially if you've got to walk along that area. Whether or not that pavement is an area that's going to be very greatly transited, well, I can't say. It does seem a little bit random. Um, the racecourse in general, we don't know what they're going to do with it. It's been abandoned for what 6 years now, and they are building a pavement. That is my understanding, according to Anne, who asked some of the workmen who were there on that stretch. There we go. That's as much as I know about that, Andrew. Quite a few people joining us now. Please do join in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to feel very lonely here. I've even put a really nice beach scene in the background there, just to remind us that spring has finally arrived, and after spring comes summer. Um, so you're very welcome, Andrew. Andrew said thanks. Um, in in the live stream with Mario Bravo after the last council meeting, we were able to reveal that although they don't have formally a budget for this year because they've just extended last year's budget, the Mijas Council have decided to spend 78 million of the 100 million surplus. Thank you, Daniela. You're not alone. Thank you very much. They have decided to spend 78 million from the surplus that we have, which is about 100 million, and on a lot of projects in this year. Of course, it is a year running up to elections, but I'm sure that has nothing to do with it. Um, I have to be really honest. I've seen some of the projects, and a lot of them are remodeling of roads in various areas. Um, but I think what I'm more concerned about are the things that are not going to be spent on this year. Um, we're still in this kind of limbo in terms of our contract for street cleaning, road cleaning, and all the things that go along with that, and emptying of bins and whatever. As far as I can see from the budget, we're not going to see extra money being spent on keeping Mijas clean. We're coming into the summer, and sometimes it does get into a mess. Now, I'm not blaming the council for that because it's people that make a mess. But the council need to really consider the extra requirements during the summer, and whether a contract for the companies that do these things, it's really very difficult. So it's not going to be spent on more street cleaning. It's not going to be spent on looking at plans to stabilize the beaches. One of the areas that's very close to my heart is are the animals of Mijas. I'm in contact with a lot of the animal groups, whether they be dog groups or cat groups or donkey groups. And there are no plans to spend any more money this year on supporting or helping the animal rescue groups than there was last year, which frankly was not impressive. Another project that has been spoken about for a very long time that doesn't appear to be on the extra spending budget is a residence for the elderly. We do have an increasingly elderly population here in Mijas, and although in Spain generally the care of the elderly has been left to families, it is very much the case that, family life in areas like this are not just the same as they were maybe 30, 40 years ago. Families are moving away. They're not living next door to mum and dad as they get older. There is this movement for work purposes or for other economic reasons. People even moving abroad, Spaniards moving abroad. And we have been speaking for a long time about municipal residence for the elderly. What I can only say is this: my mother in Edinburgh had to go into a care home because she was there on her own in Edinburgh. She was getting elderly and less independent. And if there wasn't that facility for her to go into a care home in Edinburgh, I really don't know what we could have done, because she couldn't have come here. It would have been very complicated for healthcare and the things that she needed. So yeah, this idea of the residency for the elderly is, I think, a really important one. And it doesn't appear to be in all of this extra spending. And to be honest, we're already halfway through April. So I think the chances of getting something in terms of some of these big projects underway and finished off this year looks increasingly unlikely, because these things take a long time to get approval, to go out to public tender, for everything to be assessed, and then for a date for starting. It does take several months for that whole process to go on. So yeah, I am a bit disappointed that there are things that are not going to happen, even with all of this extra 78 million of our money that is going to be supposedly spent this year. Um, I don't know whether they're going to get it spent. Last year, there was a sum set aside for what they call investments. So it's infrastructural things, and only a third of it was spent last year. So, yeah, if these things happen, fine, but I'm not convinced, and I am disappointed that there's nothing to do with the sort of general maintenance of Mijas, nothing to do with beaches, nothing to do with animals, and nothing, as far as I can see, in terms of residents for the elderly here in Mijas. If you have any questions, please do join in. We've got quite a few people joining us at the moment. Please feel free to put a comment on Facebook or on what's it called, YouTube, and I will try to answer any questions that you may have. Um, I am going to raise another issue, and Uh, this is, let's just say it's a more delicate issue. Um, and this is the whole thing about the Mijas donkeys. I want to mention some things about this. I mentioned to some people that I was maybe going to raise this as a topic. And they said, "Oh, it's very controversial. Maybe you should just avoid it." But if controversial things are just avoided, they never change. So I didn't listen. So perhaps by the end of this part, I'm going to be in some deep waters. I'm not very sure. Um, what I'm not going to do is to enter into the debate and defend one side or the other with regard to the Mijas donkeys. We know that people tend to be quite divided on the whole situation with the Mijas donkeys. But I do want to try to bring back some balance to the argument. What prompted me to pick this up were some newspaper articles which appeared just over the last week, and a petition basically just calling for the end to the Mijas donkeys. I would fully support the right that people have to protest about things that they feel are wrong. But, a simple protest without providing an alternative solution seems to me to be really quite an ineffective way to go forward. And what concerned me in these articles that I read was that there was false information being published in these articles about the Mijas donkeys. Um, and this was to get people on the side of those who want to protest against the whole idea of the donkey taxi. But getting people on your side by giving information to people who may not even live here and have never been to Micas Pueblo, I do find a bit dishonest and misleading. It is the case that a number of families make part or all of their living from the Micas donkeys. Now, I've met with these people on many occasions, and I really just want to raise one or two things here, or maybe three. The first one is, whether or not we, because we don't like it, have the right to simply remove the means for a family to provide for itself with no recourse on their part. It's a bit like me saying, "I don't like the way you drive your car. I'm just going to take your car off you." I know that there are ethical issues here, but just with no consultation with them, just to say we're taking your living away from you, I'm not sure that that feels right in itself. The second thing I want to just highlight is that over the last 18 months or so, an independent specialist equine vet has been carrying out regular health checks, well, every 6 months on all of the Micas donkeys. This has been possible due to the work that's been done by Katie Darlow and the Micas Donkey Movement Project, who helped to cover her travel expenses and costs while she's down here. And Maria, the vet, gives her time for free. She's here for 2 to 3 days doing the health checks and reports on all of the donkeys. And any health issues that are found are then followed up either with vet or farrier treatments. But I have to say, I have seen these reports, and in general, the donkeys are in pretty good physical health. And if any concerns are raised, then the donkey concern would be removed from any type of work rota. And Maria, the vet, is going to be back, I think, on the 25th of April. So we'll be going up there to meet with her and see how things are doing. So it's not the case that they don't get, and I'm talking here about independent assessments or checks by a vet, because Maria is not being paid to do this by anyone. She's not a vet of the donkey owners. She's being paid by the Micas Donkey Movement Project and is donating her time to come down here and do that. And these reports are passed on to the council, and I do get a copy of them as well. And in general, the donkeys seem to be in pretty good health. Um, the third thing I want to raise, and I guess it's a kind of a question, is there another way to preserve the history of the Mijas donkeys? There are many possibilities, but these need to be driven by the council. In August 2019, there was a unanimous decision taken by the councillors in Mijas to make some dramatic changes to the current situation with the Mijas donkeys. So far, little or nothing of this seems to have been moved forward. Um, Couple of other things with regard to the vet's visits. I think it was probably on her second visit. Maria did suggest on the upper area where the donkeys are that the bars were too high, and some of the donkeys resting their heads on these bars, could get some injuries under their chins. And she suggested that the bars on this upper level should be lowered to avoid this. The good news is this has been done, and hopefully, this is a more comfortable standing situation. She also made the request that some drinking fountains should be installed in the upper levels, and that has been done. There are more to be put up there, but there are now drinking fountains on the upper levels. But I have to say, people said they don't have access to water. It's not true. There's always been water available in the rest area when they finish their shift, and they have about a 4-hour shift on. They go down to the rest area, and the water has always been there. What I would like to say is simply this, and this is maybe the controversial part. Yes, I would certainly like some. I'd like to see some changes happening here. But we have to do it by working alongside the donkey owners, and regardless of what the long term future may be. We need to see some movement and some assistance being given for better stabling for some of the donkeys. Some of the donkeys already have very good stabling and they have paddocks to move around them when they're not working, but others don't. And I would certainly like to see progress on this sooner rather than later. Um, okay, that's my bit about the donkeys. I'm really not wanting to take sides here. But, I do know these families that have the donkeys, and for some, it is their only or main source of income. For others, they may have, maybe a partner or whatever, wife or husband may have some other work. But, I feel very strongly that just saying you can't do this anymore and taking this away, um, it doesn't feel reasonable when there are potentially other, um other courses of action, but they need to be taken on board by the council. And thank you, Maria, and thank you for all the times that you comment on my Facebook posts. And you said, God bless the Mijas donkeys. Yes, and it is up to us as politicians to take this in hand. Unfortunately, we're not in a position to do this, but we really would like to see some changes to the stabling and to the living conditions of many of the Mijas donkeys. As I say, some already have good conditions that they live in. They live in the countryside. They're taken back and forward there. They have fields. That they have some possibility to move around, but others unfortunately don't. Okay. Um, well, if I have got myself into trouble here by talking about this, then I need to just live with that. But as I said earlier on, yes, it is a controversial issue. Yes, people are divided on this, but if we don't bring these issues out into the open, then nothing changes. And I would certainly like to see things change with regard to the Mijas donkeys. Okay, if you have any comments on that, I'm happy to come back to it. Um, a lot of people, I've been attending a lot of events recently, and I usually say what people are doing after I've been to these events. And some people are saying, "Oh, I didn't know this was on. I didn't know that was on," and social media is a two-edged sword. I guess that everything that's happening is there on social media, but the problem is, sometimes you have to look at a dozen different pages to find them, and if you're not constantly looking at all these things, you may miss that this organization or this event is on or that event is on. It's actually very hard to keep track of all of these things. And I wanted to just highlight one or two things that are actually coming up over the next couple of weeks. And these are not in any particular order. It's kind of hard to do that unless I do it just one at a time. But there are a lot of events that are going to be coming up over the next couple of weeks. So please let me share these with you. and, I've just lost myself there. Here I am. Okay, um, let me share this first of all. Um, this is an event that is coming up for ACE on Sunday, the 24th of April, for 1 till 4, and it's an open day. Let me move this out the way so you can see it better. So it is an open day, from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock on Sunday, the 24th of April. I'm sure there's gonna be, stalls and things there, and refreshments. Yep, it says it all there. Guided tour of the shelter. This is a hard one for me because every time I go over to ACE, I want to take one of their, residents home with me, and, but my wife is probably even, worse than I am. Okay, there is an entrance fee, a bag of dry dog food or cat food. I'm sure we can manage that. Um, so since 1999, ACE have rehomed 26,000 dogs and cats. That's incredible. If you don't know where ACE is, um, head up from the market ground in Nacala as if you were going up towards Nacala Golf. It's only 2 kilometers up that road, before the bridge of the flyover for the AP7, and you'll find Ace just up there on the right-hand side as you're going up, but I'm sure you'll see some activity there. There's a GPS location there as well. Okay, so that's an event from Ace. Um, let me see what else we've got here. Okay, um, there are lots of bars and restaurants that have events on, but we have just about 2 or 3 actual, what I would call events venues in Mijas, and I thought I would share, these with you. This is not to exclude the bars and restaurants that have, singers, music, live music and things on, but, these are just looking at some of the actual events venues that we have in Mijas. So the Casbah Live Lounge, which is in, Torre Nueva, it's a great place. Here's their lineup for, April, and you can see, Thursday, they've got someone on tonight. Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday is when they have their events, from 9 o'clock. And I guess if you want to book anything, there's a phone number here just at the bottom. So that's the Casbah Lounge and the activities they have on Thursday, Friday, Saturday over the next couple of weeks. Another event here from Domino Charity, um, which is in Club La Naranja on the 14th of May at 1 o'clock. Three-course menu, €32 per person. There's going to be some stalls there as well, for raffles, sale of second-hand clothing. Domino are also doing a great job for the homeless dogs around Mijas. What else have we got? Legends. Well, to say that Legends is a bit of a legend, that's a tautology, isn't it? Um, they are going to be having uh, uh, Mijas or Legends has got talent. €1,000 first prize, second and third prizes, plus events, 5 events, 3 events, 2 events. And if you want to take part in this, if you think, excuse me, I'm gonna have a drink of water here. If you think you've got what it takes, the closing date for submissions is the 3rd of May. There will be guest judges, Mr. John Sharples, being one of them, and their application and rules there. You can get the email off the bottom here. You'll see it PMM tickets at it says mail.com. Okay, I guess that's right. But you know where Legends is. So that's a very interesting development that they have. What else have we got? Okay, this is being organized mainly by the Lions International La Cala. And this is on the 5th of June. It's a bit further away, and we probably will just push this again, but it's a date to put in your diary, which is the Platinum Jubilee celebration at the Butibamba Park in La Cala, the Butibamba area of La Cala. Um, you got the chance to do 50s and 60s fancy dress. You get your ration book for cava and cake. There's a lot of different entertainment going to be on there. A lot of business supporting this, PCC and Ibex, Cajamar, um, Venkosan. Who else have we got there? Yeah, it's PCC. So a lot of support here, and well, Mijas Council is allowing this to happen in the park. The 5th of June. It's sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. Uh, so put that in your diary. Do I have anything else? Ah, yes, I just picked this up this evening. This is an event in Mijas Pueblo on the 23rd of April, and the benefits are going to Ukraine. So it's a kind of solidarity event. There's going to be things for kids up there. There's going to be food and drink, um, and they're going to be collecting food and clothes for sending over to the Ukraine. And again, a lot of organizations involved in helping to set this up. So it's another date for your diary on the 23rd of the 4th, and it's from 12 till 6. So you can do the what was I going to say? You could do the open day at ACE, which is I think on the Sunday. You could do this on the Saturday. So there's lots there. One other events venue that we have that it's kind of tucked away a little bit, but it's a fantastic venue. It's called Play, and they've got wine and gastronomic evenings on the second and fourth Wednesdays of April and May, starting at 8 o'clock. We've got entertainment with Campbell Bass and Alexandra Avery, and 5 wines with matched tasting plates created by the chef. And that's at Play Restaurant. If you don't know where it is, if you're coming from Fuengirola towards Mijas, you go under a bridge at El Faro, and then there's a turn off which says Playa Marina, and you've got the 24-hour veterinary hospital there, which is facing the sea, and Play is actually right behind that building. There's plenty of parking there. It's a fantastic venue. I've eaten there, and the food is really very, very good. So that's another event. Do we have anything else? Okay, another event at Play, which is on Thursday, the 28th of April from 10 till 2. Now, these are events organized by a friend of mine called Steve Lewis. And they are networking events, but they're open to the public to talk to people. The next one's the 28th of April. It's on real estate and property services. So the people that actually have stands there will be from that area, but they also have health and wellness and other events. Um, Running roughly every couple of weeks. 28th of April, 10 till 2, this business networking event will be on at the Play in Playa Marina. Okay, I will try to bring you events. As I say, I don't want to offend anyone by missing them out, but you know there are so many bars and restaurants that do have great entertainment on and live entertainment on, and what I don't want to do is to you know mention some and not others. So I've tended to go for the events venues, so that you can see what is happening with them. Um, Thank you to those of you who have joined me this evening. I hope you found this, if not interesting, thought-provoking. You know, please feel free to contact me. I'm pretty much always available, either by WhatsApp or via Messenger, or via email. You get all of this if you go to my Facebook page, Bill Anderson Mijas. You get all of my details there. Um, I guess it just remains for me to wish you, well, first of all, to say, remember tomorrow, Friday, is a public holiday, so some places will be closed. But I want to wish you all a very happy Easter for those of you who celebrate Easter, and we'll see you next week. Please take care, everyone.